Spring camp for the BYU football program begins today in Provo, and there's no better time to bring on a guy like Connor Pay to talk about it. We're doing that. We're also answering some of your questions for him all ahead on Locked On Cougars.
You are Locked On Cougars, your daily podcast on the BYU Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Hatch, your host here on Locked On Cougars, your resident BYU insider. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Appreciate all of you for being everydayers with us right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. This is your original daily podcast focused on all things BYU sports, and we are brought to you today by our friends over at Game Time. Make every moment more with Game Time. New customers join today will get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. Please welcome in now BYU team captain and all-around great gentleman, Connor Pay, back to the podcast. Appreciate him being a part of it as always. Connor, first thing I've got for you tonight is how does it feel to be like the most in-demand BYU football player in terms of media requests recently?
I don't know if I'm the most in demand. I don't know. I feel like probably because they know I'm going to say something stupid and crazy and I'm going to get myself into trouble, and I guess that makes for good press. So,
well, why do you think I brought you on this podcast in the first place?
To get me to talk crap on people, probably.
Yeah, probably. But you've actually been very good about stuff like that. You couch your opinions. I
like too many people. That's the problem. Is I like too many people, so I don't have any bad things to say about anybody.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. But spring camp, so we're recording this the night before, but spring camp starts today for the BYU football program. Let's start here. What's your excitement level for camp to get underway in these 15 practices over the next month?
Oh, man, fired up. I mean, it's just we've spent the last 2 months, in the weight room and just on the turf doing, off-season training, and now you actually get to go and put it on the field. And so it's really exciting to finish up winter workouts, and I feel like we've made a ton of progress as a team from a strength and conditioning perspective, from a leadership and accountability perspective, and from a overall commitment perspective in prepping for spring ball. I couldn't be more excited to kind of see how it all comes together, because there's been a lot of really good things and good changes, and the guys on the team have responded really well when, us as leaders have kind of demanded more from them this offseason, and the guys are taking it and running, and it's led some people to make some great progress. And so I'm excited to kind of see that come to fruition during spring ball and kind of see, those strides actually show themselves on the field.
Now, as I understand it, you were one of the team captains for this offseason, and the winter workout format, as I understand it, you're drafting teams. Essentially, each captain had a number of guys. Was it 12 or 13 guys?
Yeah, around that.
But you guys were competing in every facet, from what I understand, workout, school, across the board. Do you feel like that was a beneficial thing for this football program?
No doubt. When the strength staff decided to roll that out, we were all pretty excited about it, because there's the reality of a team is that there's going to be all sorts of different guys with all sorts of different commitment levels, and this was kind of a way to get everybody involved and help guys on the team realize that their actions, positive or negative, have a direct impact on their teammates. And I think that was a really cool thing, because there was all kinds of stuff, like you mentioned. There was strength and conditioning. You can get pluses and minuses in that for doing great things or for screwing things up, and academics as well. If you're missing class or doing things like that, or if you do really well on a quiz or a test, you get positive points for that. And then there's things outside of football, like if you're getting extra work in the film room or with your position group, that stuff is another way you could earn points for your team. And service projects and going to other BYU athletic events was another way where you could go. So it just made everybody really engage with each other, with their schoolwork, and with the other sports in the athletic department. So I think it was a really cool thing, and I would anticipate that to continue the remainder of the off season. So.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So is it an ongoing competition, or have you guys announced like a winner?
So there are weekly winners and losers, and like the winning team gets a prize of some kind, and then the losing team has to come in for an extra workout.
Okay.
During the week or something like that, or they have to go clean the weight room or do something like that. And so, but no, it's ongoing. It's ongoing.
Now, obviously, these 15 practices are kind of laid out roughly 3 a week, and that gives you guys some extra time to evaluate film, go through your team meetings and that type of stuff. What, in your mind, is going to be the biggest key for you as a football program? I'm talking across the board as you go into this spring period that you hope to accomplish.
I think for us as an overall team, right, you want to see guys take what we've done in the off season and what we do in the film room and apply it on the field.
Okay.
That's what you want to see. Your team is in a good spot if you have guys that are going and they're learning something that day, maybe screwing it up on day one, but not on day two. Mm-hmm. And if you can follow that process where each day you're getting better at something as a team, because, for example, for us on offense, with Coach Woods, this run game is going to be this scheme is going to be there's some stuff that's going to be similar, but there's also a lot of variety that's going to be different. And so like that may look like crap when we run it for the first day or two, because it's our first time running it in pads. But as long as we're improving, and like the mistakes we made yesterday we don't make today, and then the mistakes we make today we don't make tomorrow, we correct those things. In my mind, that is kind of like an overarching goal for a team in spring ball is can guys be taught and improve, right? And you get to the end of spring ball where it's a similar timetable to fall camp, right? A few less practices, but where it's like you're trying to oil yourself up to where you could potentially go play a game. And so I think for me, from a whole team perspective, that in my mind, that's kind of what, I know as us as leaders on the team, that's what we want to see from everyone else and from each other, and from ourselves. So
now that brings me to my first question, because you'd mentioned Coach Woods in there, and one of our great listeners on our Locked On Cougars Insider group, Andrew, asked this. He says, I've heard that the hiring of TJ Woods played a part in you returning to BYU for one more year. The question he has is, how do you see his hiring impact the overall line play this fall?
I think it will improve it. I think it already has improved it. He's very passionate about the game of football, and he kind of exudes that, and you can't help but have some of that rub off on you in the meeting room and when he's out coaching you. And we've already spent a lot of time with him, not only in the allotted time that we're allowed to have with the NCAA rules and all that stuff, but also together taking what Coach Woods is teaching us. And I've put a lot of pressure on the O-lineman this offseason to learn the playbook better, because I thought that was a major weakness for us last year. And I felt like I failed as a leader in that aspect. And, I'm not willing to let that happen again. And so some of them may not have been the biggest fans of me over the last month or two, because I'm putting a lot of pressure and I'm asking a lot of them.
Okay.
To learn fast. I had them in the meeting room. I was making quizzes on the playbook for them and forcing them to take them on their own time, right? And the whole room has responded so well to that. They haven't griped like we've had a little bit in the past when it comes to extra work, and they've taken it in stride. And I think that goes right along with the mentality that Coach Woods has and he came in with, and now that's rubbing off on the rest of the room. Because not only is he's an accountability coach for sure. He's very intense, but he also, you can tell he cares a ton about us and our improvement. And that makes it really easy to want to do what he asks you to do. And he's also a fantastic teacher.
Okay.
So that combination of accountability and not putting up with players not improving, mixed with him being a great teacher, it's a great combination. Because you're going to be pushed to be your best, but you're also going to be taught how to be your best. And so I've been, and he's pushing me every day too. And I hope he rips my ass every single day, for something that I'm not doing right. Just because I know he wants to help me become a better player. And I think he's already started to do some of those things. And even now, just in the walkthroughs we've had the last few days leading up, you can notice a difference in the O-line room. It's night and day in some aspects.
Well, that's awesome to hear. I got some more questions about spring camp that we'll continue to ask Connor about, just kind of the expectations for the month ahead. We'll get to all that as we continue on right here on Locked On Cougars. More in a moment. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive, my friends. And eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts, your number one ride or die, you'll always be able to find exactly what you're looking for. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts that you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win with our friends at eBay Motors. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Once again, eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. So once again, check them out at ebaymotors.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Utah Community Credit Union. Great news for you, my friends. UCCU has elevated their checking accounts by enhancing them with more benefits, more savings, and more online protections than ever before. A lot more. Paired with the most advanced and comprehensive mobile banking tools, Elevated Checking is a must-have financial product packed with lifestyle security and financial benefits. The lifestyle benefits alone include cell phone protection, roadside assistance, telehealth with 24/7 access to licensed health professionals with zero copay, and exclusive savings on travel, shopping, and dining. Think about that, my friends. It's incredible to add that to your life. And Elevated Checking, the best part is it's free when you do any one of the following. Use your credit or debit card 15 times or more a month, make a monthly direct deposit of $500 or more, or maintain an average daily balance of $1,500 in your account. Otherwise, UCCU's Elevated Checking is just $6 a month. So visit uccu.com to open that Elevated Checking account online, or stop by any branch to open an account in person today, my friends. It's all courtesy of your friends over at UCCU. Love where you bank. Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Appreciate all of you for being with us here on the podcast. Continuing on now with Connor Pay. And those of us watching on YouTube, I am now beardless after a long stretch of having a beard. My 5-month-old son now, let's just put it this way, he gave dad a really, really weird look because he'd never seen me without hair. And you've got some flow going to the hair right now. I like it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to cut my hair till the end of the season.
Are you really get away with that?
Yeah, I think with the honor code rules, they made some adjustments to it to where it's not so much there's a specific line anymore where the hair has to be cut. It just has to be kept neat.
Okay.
And not look like crap. It was essentially my interpretation of the guidelines. And so we're gonna I think I'm gonna grow it out, and because it's been a long time since I've had my hair this long, and I don't know, I wanted to try it again, so we'll see.
It's gonna be flowing out the back of your helmet like a mane at some point here.
Yep, ponytails, the whole nine. We'll see.
I can respect that. Looking forward to it. We'll keep up tabs on this because you and I have talked. We have plans to keep this going all throughout the upcoming season, obviously. Yeah. But as you look ahead to spring camp, there's a lot of talk about the quarterback position. Now you're going to be you're in a key spot there as a guy who's expected to play center and snap to these guys. According to what I read, Aaron Roderick told the Deseret News it's a 2-man race right now between Jake Retzlaff and Gerry Bohanon. Give me your sense on both guys as we head into this spring camp period.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming just based off what A-Rod said that it'll be 50-50 reps. Mm-hmm. It would be my guess. Really, really proud of both of them, honestly, for how they've handled the winter and how they've attacked it. And, Gary's played a lot of football, and he's been around, and he led a really good Baylor team in 2021. And so he has that maturity and that leadership that you want in a quarterback. And, and he hasn't been afraid to jump in and lead. And it's been great. And Jake, Jake understands that he had some deficiencies in those games last year, and he made some poor decisions. And man, he has just grinded to try to, improve as a player. And you can tell they both want that spot bad, and they're both willing to fight for it. And so it's been pretty fun to watch the two of them go through winter and to take on more leadership responsibilities. And and what comes with that is you got to be one of the hardest workers on the team. You got to earn the respect of your teammates that way. And I think it's been kind of fun to watch them both do that. And I both think they've made great strides in that area. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun to kind of watch them duke it out in spring ball, and we'll see what happens at the end of spring. I mean, I don't know if I doubt a decision will be made. I'd kind of be shocked if there was, just based on how things have gone in the past. I doubt it. But you never know. So it's going to be fun to watch those guys, go at it and make each other better, really.
Now, obviously, Gerry, you mentioned that 2021 season when he led Baylor. You guys played against that Baylor team. Has there been some natured trash talk going back and forth with him? Because
no,
he can claim a win over BYU.
He can claim a win. But it was also a long time ago. That was back in my freshman season.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my fifth start or sixth start of my whole career, whatever game that was in that year. And no, it's because it was also, and my point in saying is that it was so long ago now. Like, I mean, I guess it's 2 full seasons ago now, where it's like we haven't really brought. If it was last year, there'd for sure be some talking, but because it was so long ago and he's been at UCF, like he's been out of the Baylor game for a little while, and so no, it hasn't really gotten brought up at all.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: I can say he's got a win over BYU. He's also got a loss against BYU as well. That USF game that you guys played down there in Tampa. So, so I guess he's on both sides of it. Also wanted to ask you in terms of just the O-line overall, because you're one of these leaders. You've already talked about how you've been pushing these guys. What is your sense for this position group, and how are they looking in your mind heading into the spring period?
I'm really happy with them right now. The way, kind of Waylon has stepped up to kind of become a leader in the room as well as a returning starter, and, Caleb as well. And Kym was already that, and so, to have those 4 guys and Caleb has made huge strides this winter, because I think he got a lot of hate last year just because of some of the struggles that he had, where I think he just had, the Coach Woods has a phrase for when guys, play slow and not sure what to do, is just paralysis of analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was kind of what Caleb was in last year. Just wasn't really sure what to do, because we saw flashes of when he did know what to do. He did some real damage. And so, I think having Coach Woods now, who's a fantastic teacher, has been huge for Caleb. And that's already shown up in the walkthroughs. Like he did some pretty awesome things, had some tough looks and handled it really well. And so I'm really proud of him. And, and same with Waylon and Kym to kind of, we kind of have to lead this thing together. It'll be fun to see who kind of, battles. I mean, no spot is really safe right now. This is a new coach. He's never seen us play in pads before. We all have to go prove to him that we belong in the spots we're in, or we belong in a spot that we're not in yet. And then we need to move up in the depth chart. And so, I'm really happy with how they've handled the winter. And now just a new challenge of, keeping that mindset and keeping that improvement all through spring.
You talk about these walkthroughs. If you guys have gone through, I'm sure you've seen at least some of what the BYU defense looks like, the defensive front in particular, because that was a big emphasis in recruiting for this coaching staff, was to upgrade the front 7 of that defense. Give me your sense of how they look heading into spring.
I mean, from what I've seen, pretty good. We've kind of been split up a little bit. The guys have kind of been divided, so it's not like I saw the whole one defense all together. probably because there isn't really a true one defense yet. But from what I've seen, they've done a really good job. And some of those new guys who have joined the program, especially on the D line, they're learning the system. Coach Pua is teaching them really well, and it's going to be fun. I think we've have a little bit of depth at that position now that we haven't had in the past a little bit. And as these guys learn the system and develop under Coach Pua, I think there's a couple guys in there who could be really good players.
I've just got to ask you as an aside, Danny Saili, he was one of the signees at defensive tackle. They listed him at 360 some odd pounds when he is announced. Is he really that big of a human being?
He's probably bigger than that.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't know. We give him a hard time about it all the time, so I got to be careful about what I say.
Okay.
I don't want to sit here on a podcast and talk about how fat he is.
Well,
but
here's the thing. You can't teach size like that, though. That's the thing
because the thing is, it's not like he's a slug.
Yeah,
like that dude can move, and he's got some things, some abilities with his hands and some stuff like that is pretty uncommon, especially in large defensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited for Danny to see what he can do and what he can become over the next 6 months. And I'm fired up. Danny's a great dude for one, but has the chance to be a really good player too.
Well, I got a couple more questions about spring camp, a couple more listener questions as well that we'll dive into. We'll get into those here in a moment, right here on Locked On Cougars. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet with our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers, you get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Think about it this way, my friends. You could have $150 in your account had you bet on BYU to win on Tuesday night in that historic win over Kansas. You also can do that with the NBA, any other sport you're interested in. It's all capable and possible from our friends over at FanDuel. It's $150 if your first bet wins. It's as simple as that. Bet on all of your favorite NBA players and teams, college basketball and beyond as well, with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and many, many more. You simply want to bet on the spread, over, under, money line. You just want to pick a winner. They've got it all for you guys. And the best part is it's all available inside their easy to use app. It's a really, really simple product, fantastic product to boot. So I'd encourage you guys to give it a shot. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot today. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Once again, $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bets. As simple as that. It's all courtesy of your friends at FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, continuing on as we wrap up this edition of Locked On Cougars with our special co-host, or I guess, should we call you like a weekly correspondent, Connor? I'm not sure what to term you at this
I don't know. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want.
BYU football media superstar, Connor Pay.
No, stop.
We're going to go with that.
No, I veto that one.
Hey, I saw you on the Wise Guys the other night. I've seen you doing stuff with Odeon Menswear and ESPN 960. You're all over the place, my man. I got mad props for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I wish the check reflected that.
Well, we're doing our best to help you out in that.
I'm just joking. It was a joke. Okay. I would do all of this for free. I enjoy this a lot. So.
Okay, speaking of something you probably would do for free, let's get this question out of the way right now. EA Sports has announced EA College Football 25 is coming back. I will admit I bought a PS5 a year and a half ago with the anticipation of that game returning. Connor, I owned every version of that game from the late 90s till it stopped being produced in 2013. It's literally the only video game I have played since I got married to my wife now almost 10 years ago. What is your excitement level for being a part of this, as I understand that you are, quote unquote, in the game?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty fired up. You think it's weird to kind of think about, like, I grew up playing these games, and I still play them sometimes. I brought my Xbox 360 from home a few nights ago and slapped in the old NBA 2K12, NCAA 14, just to probably just more for the nostalgia of the whole thing. But it's pretty wild, like, when you think about it as a kid and how much you enjoyed those games, to now think that, hey, you're going to be in that game now, is pretty crazy. To where, I'm not going to play a very significant role in the game. You'll see me bend over probably for about 3 seconds. But But of course, the first thing I'm doing is I'm getting in there and turning my rating to 99.
Well, absolutely. Come on now.
Naturally. And I'm switching myself to quarterback.
Okay. All right. What's your speed going to be? You're going to be running like the
99.
Okay, so you're going 99 across the board then.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you're given the ability to basically cheat, you might as well go all the way and make it 99 across the board.
But
very excited about it.
Connor Pay 25 Heisman Trophy winner out of BYU wearing the number 70 and playing quarterback. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we got like 10 quarterbacks in our QB room right now. We might as well add one more.
Come on now. Why not?
We're going to sign 10 of those guys, and I never even got a chance. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
I've seen your arm, and you are a lefty. You've got quite a cannon on that left arm. So if I'm Coach Roderick, you might as well throw you in the mix as well. If you got 10 guys already competing.
That's what I'm saying. And there's a few of those QBs in that room, with all due respect. They know I throw better than they do. I'm just kidding. Those guys are 10 times what I would ever be at quarterback. But.
I can understand that. Now, obviously, spring camp, it's a busy time, but at the same time, it's a fun time because it's not necessarily as I guess do or die is probably the terminology I would use with it, because you want to be ready, essentially, as you mentioned, at the end of it to be capable of playing a game, but you guys won't have a game for months to come still. When it comes to spring, it's more about, it feels like, skill development for a lot of guys. So
yeah.
Is there a player or two maybe in your O-line group that you've kind of been watching throughout winter workouts that you think could really emerge in spring camp?
I mean, I think there's multiple, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, outside of the 4 guys I've mentioned who have started games for us in the past, it's kind of open season. Beyond that, we're not really sure. We haven't had a lot of guys below that playing games. Mm-hmm. But, guys like, Peter Falanico, Trevin Osler, Sam Daw, Sonny Mocassini, Jake Eichhorn, like those guys have had really strong winters. Mm-hmm. And so I'm pretty excited to see how those guys can – take what we've done in the winter, the learning, and apply it to the field. So I think this is probably where, in the past, it's kind of like, you kind of know, like there's 1 or 2 guys that could really, really do this. And now it's kind of like, well, we've got 4 or 5 of them. So it's like, who's going to win the race, so to speak? Like who's going to improve the most and give themselves the best chance to crack the 2 deep or crack the lineup. So
now, Ethan asked this question. He said, can you ask Connor what's his confidence in the running backs? I'm assuming that LJ Martin will kind of be the lead guy, but there's some other dudes in that room. Now, you guys didn't bring anybody from the transfer portal this year, so that was an interesting move. But what is the confidence level in the running backs?
Very high. Very high. I think, what LJ was able to do as a freshman was pretty special. And with his first full year in a college strength and conditioning program, mm-hmm. I think he'll only improve on his ability as a runner, and a bunch on the mental side of the game too. Because when you're a freshman, there's a lot of plays where you're just out there playing. Like you're not going through your read keys like you're supposed to, or certain things like that could help you. You're kind of just balling because you're learning the college game on the fly pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really fired up about LJ. We'll get Hinckley Rapati back from injury, so that'll be a big deal. And then Miles Davis, his 4th year in the program, and I think also just with Coach Woods being the run game coordinator, I think it's going to be a lot more cohesive of a run game between the running backs, tight ends, O-line, receivers, everybody. And so I think we're going to be able to put the running backs in a better position to be successful. And we have a couple freshman running backs that have, made some good reads and made some good cuts in the walkthrough and kind of jumped off the screen a little bit. So a lot of confidence in those guys.
All right, 2 little more listener questions before we wrap things up here. First one goes to Tyson. He says, Connor, if you were at the NFL Combine this year, which it's underway this week out there in Indianapolis, Kingsley Suamataia is out there, Keaton Slovis and Ryan Rico for you guys from BYU. But he asked this, if Connor were to be at the NFL Combine this year, which drill would he be looking forward to the most?
Which drill? I I think probably the ones that I think I'm the best at.
Well,
and, just based on the last time I had like times lasered and things like that, I think I'd be pretty excited for the 3-cone.
okay.
The 5-10-5.
Mm-hmm.
I was last time we did it with lasers, and you kind of naturally everyone gets their times back, and you go and look at the most recent combine results to see how you stack up to everybody else. And I did really well in that one, and I'm pretty excited for like the bench press too. I think that'll be a fun one.
You're not going to be breaking the jump record that Blake had last year.
No. Unfortunately, I don't think I have a 37-inch vertical at 315 pounds.
Hey.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to run a 4.9 either, which is why I didn't mention a 40-yard dash.
Well, let's be real. The 40-yard dash for offensive linemen, it's about that 10 and 20-yard split. They don't care about.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
no doubt.
Okay, final question here. We'll give it to Matthew Staples. This is a great question. I don't know if you've seen this on social media. Have you seen ice football by chance? That's been kind of going viral on social media recently, Connor. Okay, so there's an 8-man ice football. They're literally wearing skates, and they're playing football on an ice rink. It's absolute
I think I've seen clips of it.
Okay, so he said this. Who would be his starting 8 players on the current roster from BYU if we were to play ice football?
On skates?
Yes, on skates. This you have to factor in who can actually, function on ice skates.
Yeah. And I also have to eliminate anyone who might accidentally kill somebody with that skate. Falling over or something.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how like the positions work. Do you need like some big guys, and then do you need some smaller guys, or
the brief?
Is there blocking in it? Like I don't know.
There's legitimate blocking, and guys are like falling over when they're blocking. You think about trying to engage with a guy when you're both wearing ice skates. I don't think they're necessarily like 300 plus pound dudes, but there are blockers. It seems to be more of a run oriented setup.
Okay.
What I've seen.
Either way, naturally, I'm putting myself at quarterback.
Absolutely. Come on now.
The
hefty lefty, aka Connor Penn.
Yeah, on skates. I don't know about that. That might be a disaster. Okay. I think I'm going to take Kibo.
Okay.
Keanu Hill.
Yeah.
Some size and some speed there. Who do I think could be good on skates? Just overall good athletes. Skates is kind of like everyone's a pretty good overall athlete. Skates are just pretty specific.
It is.
But like that's a weird one because we don't do anything that would like show me you could do that.
You literally have to go to an ice rink, have everybody strap on their skates, and say, "Okay, that guy, no, that guy." Really,
everyone plays both ways though too.
I don't know. I would assume so. Like I said,
okay. I'll just assume there's 8 guys and you have to play offense and defense.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm taking me. I'll take Kibo for defense. For someone who could do it on both sides, I'll take Batty.
Okay.
Because I see him doing all kinds of funky stuff in the weight room sometimes, so I feel like his balance could be pretty decent based on that weird stuff he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take Darius.
Okay.
How many is that? 4?
4. Halfway down.
This is hard. This is harder than I thought it would be. It's like Micah Harper.
Okay. I think it's a good choice right there, by the way.
A healthy Ben Bywater.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good on that.
Just heal up, man. We need you 100% soon.
I know. Okay, that's 6.
Yep.
I think I'm good with size.
Okay.
We've got enough for ice football.
Uh-huh.
Let's get a little speed in there. I think Parker Kingston might be a little speedy guy on the skates.
I was gonna say Parker. He's got legit just track speed. So you think about putting skates on it? Kid would probably fly.
Yeah, I'll take Parker, and then one more. I'll take. Give me. I feel like Mo Bamba.
Okay. All right.
He'd be pretty good on some skates. So give me Mo.
All right. I actually kind of like that lineup because you mentioned you got got two-way ability for a lot of these guys, but also you mentioned some size to give you that girth in the middle. So yeah, I like that. And then yeah, you playing quarterback, man. Then we're gonna stop you. Come on now.
As long as I don't slip and fall on my own.
Well, and that is, well, trust me, the clips I've seen, these guys are just trying to stay upright. It really feels like in many ways when you're playing it. There's been some talk amongst the media core out there saying that should be the next, like, because they did for BYU basketball, they did a media game. So they're like, we should do this for BYU football. And I'm like, it's a bad idea. The last time I was on skates competing in anything remotely athletic, Connor, I messed my right knee up that is still not right to this day as a result. So
yeah, I feel like there might be some like accidental injuries and maybe deaths with people falling over. They're throwing their skates up in the air.
There is that possibility. We had a hockey player die earlier this season.
And he got his throat slit by the skate.
No bueno. So
crazy.
I'm assuming that this is gonna.
Let's just stick to media flag football.
I like that. That's very good. That's a good idea right there. We should talk about that. I'll run it by Kenny Cox. How about that?
There we go. Yeah.
All right. Well, Connor, looking forward to the spring camp period ahead. Obviously, fun in 5 weeks ahead. I guess last thing for me is there anything else you'd like to let Cougar Nation know as we look into spring here?
No, not really. Just that, we're gonna grind every day, and it's and improvements and necessary changes have already been made and are continuing to be made, and I think the program is moving in the right direction. So
that's what we like to hear. Well, Connor, thanks as always for the time, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. That's Connor Pay. A big thank you to him for taking the time to join us here on the podcast. A big thank you to all of you for sticking with us as always. A big thank you for making it your first listen today, and thank you to all of you for being everydayers with us right here on the podcast. Until next time, until tomorrow, really, we will catch you guys again soon right here on the Locked On Cougars podcast.